Good evening. This is Ninja of the Color. I am your host, Dottley, doing a solo podcast. This is Reaction Sunday, reaction to the Falcons and reaction to how the CFP screwed Florida State this year. Again, I am your host, Dottley. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars, give us 4 stars, give us 3 stars, give us 2 stars. Give us any stars. If you don't give us any stars, we'll just assume that we're doing it properly. We are available on where you get your podcast. That is Spotify, Amazon Music, Samsung Podcast, Pandora, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, iHeart, and yes, still haven't got a Apple ID to be on Apple, so we're still working on that. All right, so this is Reaction Sunday. Let's get it started. Yeah, kids ask Goldie Gold for my 80s babies. That is from 1981, I guess. Female Richie Rich. All right, today is Monday, December 4th, but yesterday, the Falcons played the Jets, and it was a victorious day because the defense showed up. One of my friends said that we need to cut Grady Jarrett. I disagree. Our defense will be way much better with a mini Aaron Donald. He and number 90, Newman, well, I don't know. I think I mispronounced his name. Yes, him and number 90. They bolster our defense. So let's go to the highlights.
Saints are outplaying the Lions 14-0 early in the first quarter. It's for Darrell Patterson. He was trying to get the defense. These touches are pretty cool. Titan for the starter and Titan. 12. Safety.
Yeah, they gave up a safety during that time, but there was no really any doubt. Well, there was a little bit of doubt that the Falcons would lose the game. But the crazy thing is, they're
As he penetrates, they have no chance. Look at how quickly he gets in the backfield. He blows it up. Ashton Davis, excuse me, he blows it up as well. He's pushing back Parker Hesse. That was domination by the defensive front. And then Ashton Davis cleaning that up. Great job. 5 to bring it down to the first quarter.
On the sack, on the safety, number, where is it? Caleb McGarry. That's him, I think, right here. On the sack, he gave up a safety, but after that, after he was taken, I guess he got injured and he was taken out of the game. The offense ran a little bit smoother. Just a thought.
Six. So complete intended for Clay Clinton. And defensive coordinator Houston, he has put it all together for his Falcons. It's going on. Anthony Terrell. Let's go. Second round of 9 against winner. First in its face over the running and it's played by Kyle Pitts for the Falcons first down. So, first one gets back behind Butler. So, he is that is a touchdown. Just ready to get the tight ends involved. He's got both of them at goal line. So it's Kyle Pitts on the outside. Gets it back to the Super Bowl. That's all that. Six first. Six first reception tonight. It's the top six. Xavier gets it. Six. Ball stops the pocket, throws out of the middle, and Martinez got it. To make the catch. Boston first down is Tyler Conklin. 405. Orange pass up the plate. Under the center of Conklin. Which breaks on. But 7 out of the 10. And you got to keep this moving. 6. First down, touchdowns.
All right, right here, we should have gotten a touchdown, but this is blatant pass interference. Blatant pass interference, yes. Vilma said that he needed to box him out, but like I said, this is blatant pass interference, and we should have gotten at least right there. That's pass interference. That's more than 5 yards, and is that or defensive holding? But officiating was bad anyway.
Falcons now need to catch 10-5. Running back completed 9 of 15. And their second start. As an inward jet. Lions downfield, and it's Darren Wilson who makes the catch in Falcons territory.
Jeff Okudah's not it. I don't care what nobody say. He's not it. He always gets beat. Maybe Clark will probably be it, but Jeff Okudah is not it. Not at all. He is not it. Because look at how he just got beat on that, thinking he got help. That's his look. That's always his look. Always getting beat. He's a weak link, so he's not it.
Smith wins the challenge. 16 from the Falcons 34. Everybody has to change. 46-yard attempt. Jets. No fumbles. One time by Buffalo. 4. Right to Pete Robinson. Looks at the first. Got to do This was not from the day across the field into New York Jets turn. I should have covered because they called out the ticky tack over the field. It's 7-10. And the bench is caught by a pitch. And a first down. It's two, a 42-yard attack. This going to be one field goal. Attack that season. 23 of 24. This one's good. Oh, that's the efforts of Ryan. Serving as a timeout. They fake the cook. And they're looking for this, and it's intercepted. Jesse Bates. Bates. Third down, work it up. DJ Reed makes the play. The Saints NFL action and start was right here for the Bears. Last season. Simeon hit from behind. It's run down by Jermaine Johnson. Simeon over the middle, complete. First down, fake to her. Simeon will take off. Time is not on front. And he tries to take shots. Falcons recover. Again, from the official. Quarterback's arm started moving. It was a fumble. Starting the snap. It was a second successful counter. Third down, steps outside. Out of the 49. Wilson is right there. Third down and 10. 78, looking Wilson's way. Here's a flat. Back to the pass. Over. Defense, number 34. 7 yards. For the Jets following the flag. 78 on first down. This pass. Just cut. In front of Xavier Gibson. 25-yard connection. So under pressure, header. Ball down. Close. Emma Katie. The Atlanta Falcons, with their second consecutive game, all alone at first place, 3-5 game break. Coming up next, and then America's game of the week goes to go see the 49ers and the Eagles.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, two takeaways from this game. The Falcons need to get a new right tackle and a left, whatever side AJ's not on, need to get a corner because Jeff Okudah's not it. People don't like defensive games when their team is losing, and we were winning. And our defense is missing. Our defense is missing Grady, Anderson, number 44, and 53. The other white linebacker went out at the end of the game, and they were doing. They were playing with a third string middle linebacker. So if we get that dude who just got cut by Indianapolis, we should get him. But anyway, that's the Atlanta Falcons. They're in first place. All alone, 6-6 at 500. Played Tampa Bay next. We got a good shot of winning the division as long as we don't fuck it up. And I think Arthur Smith will fuck it up, but fingers crossed. All right, moving on to our topic of the CFP. Let me say this before we get to that, but we're going to review the Michigan and the Big Ten Championship and the ACC Championship. Like I said, CBS, Fox, ESPN was telling you that Florida State was not going to make the CFP no matter how hard they tried. No matter how hard they tried, they weren't going to make it. And they're going to, even if Georgia won, I think they would have put in Texas. Texas number 3. They would have put Texas number 4. It would have been Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Texas. That's what they're gonna do. We're gonna put them in anyway. So I think it's punishment for the ACC, us trying to get out of the ACC contract. But it is what it is. It's bias, and we played Georgia in the Orange Bowl on December 30th. The NFL title will probably not be there, so and just justify them name things out. But let's go to the Big Ten Championship. Let's review this.
2023 Big Ten Championship game. Time now to introduce today's Big Ten East and West champions. Welcome the Big Ten West champion, Michigan. Spurs have a definite series, 3 months, number 20.
Yeah, and Florida State had more yards than Michigan during their game. So I don't understand how think that we didn't have a shot.
Was not moving forward that this was a fumble. I think the more interesting ruling here is that because that they were running this dead as an incompletion, but they were needing this video evidence that there was a clear and obvious recovery in the immediate action after this fumble. So they ruled that that's a fumble in review, and then they're saying that this is the recovery on the back end. Now, the officials blowing the whistle saying incomplete, and then Josh Morris with the recovery right there. They're saying that's the immediate Brian Ferentz lost his mind on the sideline, but an unsportsmanlike conduct right before the play. So first down, inside the 10, great jump cut to the left side, and that's his 15th touchdown.
Yep, that was Jim Harbaugh. He cheated his way to the Big Ten championship, but hey, it is what it is. We'll leave it at that. Okay. We're going to go to the ACC championship. The team that got screwed, going up against a offense that averaged 435 yards a game, held them to 6 points. This is a championship playoff team. And again, CFP, by saying with the third string, they projecting that we would have our third string. No, we would have 15 practices for Tate Rodemaker to play. We would have an improvement in the quarterback position. So for them to project, that's why we got screwed. They're trying to tell the future that our team wasn't good enough, but it is what it is. Let's go.
But the Tennessee transfer Jimmy Callaway just has to make. He beat Petro Cyprus. That ball hits him right. We're not going to go around chances. Stays alive for the moment. Just two was eight seven, who came all the way into that deep safety position. That's He's the shifter running back in the back. There's a deep hard sell. Receivers coming in. But how about the roach? Freshman quarterback who can't take too many. She's able to step up and make some plays. It looked like Florida State was driving. He created some big plays and set up a long field goal here. Gets to the inside pass. As he is brought down by the ref. Don't matter one nothing.
All right, yes, that was the ACC championship. Now we're gonna go to the bullshit reactions that people were saying, but they were saying this all the time. So first, we're gonna listen to, and I have lost all respect for everyone on Fall Pine Bomb and ESPN, Fox, all of them. Lost respect. Yes, I have. Don't care.
So many people out there that say games don't matter, games don't matter. Florida State, here are the facts. 13-0, Power 5 champion, third string quarterback. Key players and injuries factors in to the college football playoff committee protocol. And there's no one with a set of eyes, no one with a set of eyeballs that could have watched yesterday's ACC championship and yesterday's SEC championship and said that Florida State was the better team than Alabama. There's no one that could have done it. And I know people are saying, well, look at the games about what they do, because Alabama beat the number one team in the country. Florida State only got by a couple of teams with third-string quarterback. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of angst out there, big comment. I just don't know if you can debate this. I don't think there's any debate.
Well, you really can if you're reasonable. Issued by your colleagues up there at ESPN. They do want to make your head explode. What about the other 99 players on the team? What about the other 99 players who just knocked off Georgia? I mean, all these things are great, but I'm glad this committee didn't buy it. And I didn't think they would as midnight struck last night, because Florida State and Louisville was a painful game to watch. But as opposed to where I was yesterday, watching two heavyweights. It was like go back to the 70s watching Ali and Frazier, and then the just go through the last 20 years of college football. I don't think you need propaganda to prop that league up.
Let's call it what it is. The SEC is very arrogant about the success they should be. Saying he's very confident publicly about his conference, and he should be. But if there were a year where the committee could have kind of just given you skip it to the SEC, this was the year. Because they could have easily put it towards states. You know what? Qualified undefeated champion, we'll let them left out when it's start to like, hey, you know what? Texas beat Alabama. There's our top four. See you guys later. They could have stuck to the SEC if they wanted to, and they didn't. They did their job and then looked at it and said, hey, you know what? I get it. We could probably do this. And plus out the most powerful conference in the country. I don't know. It's not just the one of the best teams in the country.
Well, we're doing this in real time. But when you think about the most ridiculous thing that we heard today, it's the Georgia for number 16 in the country. I mean, that is beyond comprehension. To Alabama. But that's okay. I mean, everybody's had their say. I was glad that as Sunday turns to Monday, we don't have to hear about talking points because, I mean, I'm sick of it. What you said is interesting to go back to the SEC. I think sometimes when you're as focused and strong as I am, you can be blinded by the light a little bit, but just because you're good doesn't mean you should turn people off and away to see that it's good. I think there's a lot of it. I think what also is fascinating, and there's 3.5 weeks to talk about it. But here we have the biggest name in the sport, the greatest coach of all time, taking on one of the most controversial teams and one of the most controversial coaches of all time in the Rose Bowl of all places.
Okay, again, it's all made for TV, and we got screwed because wins don't matter. Wins don't matter at all. So we're going to go to someone who kind of proves my point, but he still works for ESPN. Let's check this one out.
Team who needed a prayer in Jordan Hare to be an Auburn team that lost to Mexico State. So that's really what has to be bothered right now.
So, can you deliver the strength records and the schedule? This is if you're making it sound as if Alabama played nobody. Yes, you are. Because they're in the top 5 in strength of schedule. Since before. I totally get what you're saying. It's absolutely heartbreaking and devastating for them. The ACC has a win record against the SEC this year, 64. 2 non-conference games for Florida State this year against the SEC, and they won both of them. I get it. Different team. This has been your point, Joe. Yes, that has been my point. And so I feel awful for Florida State and Jordan Travis. Because if he was still playing, this would be a different conversation. Everything you speak of was accomplished with Jordan Travis as their quarterback. We saw this team. We take Rodemaker with Black Glass. 55 yards passing last night, it wasn't pretty. Here's the thing, man. And I hear what you're saying. The 4 best teams. There's nothing to do with what you deserve. There's nowhere in the bylaws that say you have to be. There's nowhere in the bylaws that say if you're in a Power 5 conference, you're the champion undefeated, you get in. I feel terrible. But when we look at this Florida State team, last night, when Alabama, who lost to Texas, who was the 3rd team in this thing, this Alabama team is different, and you know this. And this Florida State team is different. And it's for a quarterback. It's not a receiver. If Worthy doesn't play for Texas, they're still really good football team. Lose your quarterback. That is different than any position in any other sport. When you heard these discussions and these arguments, so I don't Florida State side from winning against against the SEC to the ACC success against the SEC? Is this simply a case where had Jordan Travis not been hurt? Or, to be fair, let's say Tate Rodemaker had really put up some numbers offensively in the Florida games to have a little more gathered support that Florida State would be competitive. But this would be a no-brainer decision in the second half of the year. And this all centers around the established criteria by the committee that they evaluate injuries.
Well, you have to ask Bill that when you have someone who knows this. But I think all of us, I think if Tate went out and lit it up, it'd be a lot like Cardell Jones did for Ohio State. I think the committee evaluated.
Okay, for our YouTube audience, this is how fake Mr. Herbstreit is. Every time he got on this selection show, the helmets of the team that were in the top 4 were sitting behind him. Today, before it was revealed, Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama was on top of in the background. So that's why I've lost all respect for him, because that's what they were doing, and they, no matter what, no one's told me that with 3 weeks, you're telling me that number 14 with practice can't play with any of those. Okay.
Based on what they saw. By the way, what Florida State did at the Swamp was impressive. I called that game. That was a tough environment. I don't care what Florida's record was. That game was impressive for them to be able to get out of that game with a backup quarterback. But when you're looking at what they did the last 2 games and you're evaluating them and all the way down to the third guy, a freshman, this is nothing against Mike Norvell. I think we all are proud and so happy to see that Florida State brand back from where it was 3, 4, 5 years ago to where it is now. It has sustainability, and it's going to be around with Mike, and they're going to do a great job. To me, if you took J.J. McCarthy off from Michigan, we'd be saying the same thing right now about Michigan. If you took Michael Penix off of Washington the last 2 games, and they were struggling with a backup, we wouldn't be looking at the totality of Washington's season. We'd be looking at the last 2 games. You have to look at the last couple of games without the heart and soul. This guy is the face of this resurgence of Florida State, Jordan Travis. And to take him out is just as big as any player in the country that you would take off that roster. So to me, it's a reflection of what he meant to that team specifically in these last 2 weeks, getting Tate and getting Brock the backup by the third straight down opportunity. And it's just reality. You're comparing them Alabama to Florida State. You got to give Alabama the nod, even though they're close game against Auburn in the rivalry. They beat Georgia on a neutral site, and Georgia was the team. And Alabama beat them. You cannot take Alabama out of this. They have to be in. I think the committee did a good job. I tip my cap as well.
It'll be interesting to hear when Dr. Bill Corrigan goes back to the same thing prior to the back run game change this. But for a couple of weeks, the answer whether any team was deemed unequivocally, which is also listed in the program process, and whether they up to the in Georgia and got Brown, and therefore gave Alabama the nod. Here are the resumes. That versus being undefeated, that's what gives Florida State an edge in strength of records in their one spot. Alabama has in strength of schedule rank, they have edge in wins, loss records, respectively 5 and 20 numbers of wins, and the key wins are pretty close with the one that's the biggest certainly like with the Georgia from 5 years. Yeah, and that was like they ultimately were picking up the edge. The way that they were, as much as anything else, controlling the line of scrimmage, dominant the run game at times. Defending the pass, Georgia came in as one of the best passing teams in America, and the lockdown coverage on those 5 teams, including Black Bowers, was remarkable. I'm still amazed by the decision that was made. And looking at all of this, Alabama, there is no question in my mind they're one of the 4 best teams. But they're for Florida State. But back to the original point, I wonder how much the decision had to do with Alabama's affiliation with the SEC and the SEC's performance at the top of college football when given the opportunity over the course of the last 10 years in the playoff and the 15 years before that was the BCS. I wonder the SEC how much that factored in, because it's tough. It's really tough to consider crowning a national champion without an SEC team being involved in the top 4.
It's really hard to imagine that, just given how that league has played in championship settings over the last 2 decades. And if you look at that point, then to me, you're projecting, you're trying to get the best matchup based on performance, not getting the team that deserve to be in that league. And I think we look at this from a selfish standpoint. We want the best matchup, so we can say, you know what, this year's semifinals wasn't a blowout. It wasn't a blowout. It's been the last couple of years, and we get good matchups. And I just think that's devastating when it comes to Florida State. And I think we're diminishing how you win. It's okay to win with defense. It's okay to have a dominant defense and win a football game. It doesn't always have to be scoring 50 or 60 points. And I think as a football nation, as a group of analysts, we got to wrap our mind around it, because to me, this is about let's get the 4 best matchup. We can sell it and we can probably take it. Who cares if Florida State runs 16-6 with defense? They dominated the other teams with the defense. Who cares? I don't either.
Keep like this just proved. I agree with Porter, but it is what it is. They wanted the best for my show, but you know what? It is what it is, man. That's what they wanted to do. So I guess we gotta catch them next year. Gotta catch them next year in the 12 team with a different team, and then it all be forgotten. But let's do one more reaction. One more. Check this one out.
For now, there's no more speculation or debate. It is fact. And it's fact that Michigan's our #1 seed. It is fact that we're going to see down in New Orleans, Washington as the 2 seed, play Texas as the 3 seed, and we go out to Pasadena when it's Alabama in the 4 seed. And not FSU, and not Georgia, and not Ohio State, or anyone else. I'm stunned by some of the things that I've seen over there. But the most stunning thing that happened in this entire selection process, the build up for weeks now, the build up, and then today the culmination was it didn't sort itself out. It's the first time I've ever seen that in the college football playoff era. I admitted to you last week that was one of the first time I ever dug into any resume. It was the first time I dug into any resume. It was the first time I looked at most of the stuff that a lot of you who are fans of this look at every week. It's not because I didn't care. It's just because I've learned that the stuff is going to sort itself out. And come Selection Sunday, you won't have a mess on your hands like you think you're going to around Halloween or the second week in November. It didn't sort itself out. It sure did. Now, because of that, I think the committee stepped in big time. But I'm not talking about who they put in the 4 seed. I'll talk about that in a second. The committee stepped in because I firmly believe they had baked their assumptions and they had baked their expectations into their rankings. Case in point, Oregon went into last weekend ranked above Texas and ranked above Alabama. Oregon should not have been ranked above either of those if you went on to a resume. You will never convince me that committee ranked Oregon above those 2 teams just based on resume. What I believe is that committee, whether consciously or subconsciously, they've already started to think to themselves, Oregon's better than Washington. Oregon's going to beat Washington. So they started treating them accordingly. Firstly, they may have thought Alabama's going to be an underdog to Georgia. And so they treated Alabama accordingly. Resumes alone would have had that thing totally inverted. Well, as is usually the case, you've got stuff, and then you have real football, real life. And sometimes the results don't match your expectations. And when it happens, and the committee is already making that sort of thing up, oh, you open yourself up to all sorts of things that have never happened before. Change the protocols. Anytime you change the protocol or something like that for any system or anything, you're bound to get some unprecedented results. Think about this. You don't think what I'm saying is true, and you don't think that my opinion you last week was true. When I told you Bill Hancock had set in motion something that was dangerous, think about this. Let me remind you what I'm talking about. Executive Director of the Playoff Committee. And voluntarily just says, oh, we don't care about most deserving. No, in fact, his words were, most deserving is not a phrase in our lexicon. We care about putting the best teams in. That's BS. I told you that then, I'm going to tell you that now. Again, it flies in the face of what they've actually done in years past. As recently as last year, they didn't put the teams in. Because that's not been what they've actually done. But when he said that last week, you may have heard this. I made a really big deal about it. I knew what was coming. When I thought, what they were doing, they were
positioning for a just in case. And the just in case happened. And then just in case win the SEC, and then it does, and we understand what we have on our hands. An undefeated Florida State head-to-head. Make sure we're on the record. Make sure we dust off this little bullet point over here, which says that we're in the business of putting the best teams in. Well, that's not the way they've done things. And also, they haven't always baked in their expectations to their rankings. And they did this year. And that's why Bama was all the way down to the 8th spot. And Oregon coming up to the number 6 spot, even though Bama's resume was better than Oregon's. If you don't think what I'm saying is true, and you think it was just business standard as usual, tell me this. What happened yesterday? What chaotic thing happened yesterday on the field? Nothing. At Washington, as an underdog, beat Oregon Friday night, but that didn't change.
The net result was you got a Pac-12 team in, which you already thought you'd get. Michigan won in the least chaotic way imaginable. Texas won in the least chaotic way imaginable. You had an upset on the field in Atlanta, and all that should have meant, maybe at the most, was a different SEC team goes other than Georgia. The favorite won the ACC championship game. So what craziness happened? The answer is no craziness happened. And yet we had 3 things happen today that have never happened before. You had 2 teams that were ranked below number 6 jump into the playoff. We've never had one do that before. We had 2 do that today in the final rankings. You had an undefeated Power 5 conference champ left out. You've never had it before. You had number 1 fall all the way out of the top 4. You've never had it happen on Selection Sunday, and yet all 3 of them happened. You don't believe me when I tell you their protocols changed and their mode of operation changed? Explain that to me. So that's the first thing. The second thing is they dropped Florida State to 5, despite the fact they won their conference and they're undefeated and they're a Power 5 conference champ. There was no right path here. There was no right path. I thought you could see that coming from a mile away, that if we kept training headlong towards this cliff and no one hit the brakes, or in this case, no one lost, we're going to have a mess on our hands. I've heard Mike Norvell's statement on this. I've heard George Travis' statement on this. I've heard Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC, statement on this. None of them are wrong. None of them are wrong. And yet, I think the committee made the right decision. I'm the one who sat here a couple of weeks ago and told you, if Florida State was undefeated, you can't leave them out. And I still feel that way. So how could I possibly think that the committee made the right decision, the correct decision? I want to word this very purposely. How can I feel the committee made the correct decision if I also feel like Florida State should have been in? The answer is there's no right decision. There is no right path. There were a couple of wrong paths here, and that's why I'm merely saying I thought they made the correct decision. Now, here's what I don't care about. I want to really peel back the layers slowly here. I don't care that there's never been an undefeated Power 5 champ left out. Okay, that's not criteria. Like, that's not a data point per se. That's just a thing. That's just a bullet point on a run sheet that they hand you before you go on air, so you'll sound intelligent when you're talking. It's just because no set of circumstances unique enough has presented itself. And by the way, we're not 100 years into this thing. So when you tell me so-and-so or such a thing has never happened, and we're only talking about something 10 years old, I don't care. It's like Uncle Bruce has never come to family reunion. Well, we've had 3 of them. So it's not like that's some long-held trend, a long-standing trend. I'm right to the point that it's unprecedented. I never cared about that. What I cared about is should Florida State be in or not. So I'm watching along with the rest of you last night. I stood on the field for the SEC championship game. I watched Florida State's game afterwards. It's very clear there's a different caliber of football being played. However, I am fully on board with anyone who tells me results on the field should matter. You know, I fight for that all the time. I'm going to get to that in a second, because that's an argument a lot of people are making, and I'll give you my 2 cents on it. I've thought about that, obviously, and I am of the opinion that I don't like when a committee of people starts to think that they know the value of a football player. That's what happened here with Jordan Travis. No one's even pretending that isn't what happened. The chair of the playoff committee said, hey, they're a different team without Jordan Travis.
which translates to have they had their quarterback healthy, or have they just lied about his status and pretended he'd be back for the playoff? You're probably in the playoff. That's true. No one's debating that. I told you when this happened, I wasn't interested in hearing anyone asking value on Jordan Travis because you don't know what he's worth. No one does. Secondly, I think it should be noted, Florida State did not get competition this year. They scheduled LSU at the beginning of the season, and they beat them. They go to, or they play against Florida every year, and they beat them. They had to go on the road to Clemson in a conference game, they beat them. And so they went wire to wire undefeated. I know as much as I can now how hard that is. So every complaint I heard from FSU folks, I just sat there in silence. But you're right about it all. You got screwed. You got screwed. Had Donovan left out, they would also have been screwed. There was no right decision here. No right way to go. I think, what's crazy is Michigan was able to completely dodge even the slightest whiff of anyone suggesting they should be out because of the off-the-field stuff this fall. And I didn't traffic in it. Like, I think Michigan should be in. I'm just saying, when all that stuff got thrown into the tumbler, there were people that were talking about whether Texas should be in. There were obviously people talking about whether Bama should be in, Georgia should be in, FSU should be in. And no one, to my knowledge, maybe a few on the fringe, but largely no one, to my knowledge, talked about Michigan. I, like many of you, have mixed reactions, mixed emotions about this, because I can easily sit here if I wanted to and present the argument for Florida State, I can present the argument for Alabama. I'm telling you, at the end of the day, if I have a ballot, those are the teams I'm putting in, and they put them in the order I would put them in. So let's go through the reactions to that. The first reaction that's been real common today is, oh, this thing's rigged, man. This thing's rigged. Well, it's not.
We'll leave it right there. But yeah, it kind of is because they're trying to make money. You can try to say that all you want, but it is kind of rigged. Yeah. But we got screwed, so that's what it is. But it is what it is. And we will play Georgia. Depending on if we have our full defense, we are going to smoke them. If a couple of players sit out for the draft, it'll be a close game. But before we go, check out the new Kong Godzilla New Empire trailer. Have you seen it? For our YouTube audience, check it out.
For most of human civilization, we believe life could only exist on the surface of our planet. What else do we know about? This world has no secrets. Possibly imagine. That's not goodness.
This is over.
really cool.
Yeah, that's the new Kong Godzilla team up movie, ready in 2004. So, are you going to see it? Are you going to see it? Is the question. I think I am. It looks kind of good.
Sure.
Yeah, it looks kind of good. So, this has been Ninja Another Color. I am your host, Dottley. Today we have went over football reaction Sunday, and what we found out is the Atlanta Falcons are better, has a better defense than the Jets have offense. The CFP committee projected and left Florida State out because they think that we will get better at offense. But I put that team up against any of those four, and the defense will dominate, and our offense will do enough just to win. And we saw the new Kong trailer, Kong Godzilla, a fuchsia or pink Godzilla, evolved Godzilla. So get your jokes ready. They're gonna be coming so fast. This has been Ninja of the Color. I'm your host, Dottley. Rate us, review us. Give us 5 stars, give us 4 stars, give us 3 stars, give us 2 stars. Give us any stars. If you don't give us any stars, we'll just think that we're doing it properly. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Rate, subscribe, follow, pass the link. We are available on where you get your podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Samsung Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. Yes, and I'm still trying to get Frank to give me his login. So this has been Ninja from the Color. Check us out next week.